Hi, today we're going to share some personal stories and be a little bit TMI. We're continuing our series on FI users. This is part 3. Last time we talked about in part 2 the ISFP in great detail and how the ISFP is one of the most misunderstood types and is actually having a really hard time figuring out what's wrong with them. Whereas the ISFP does not really know what's wrong with them, but they know there's something wrong. The INFP is more clear about what they know is wrong, and it's much more visible and much more easily manifest. So we're going to talk about the INFP both in theory, but we're also going to discuss some people that have actually met and actually known. And I know a lot of people challenge me on typology. They're asking, okay, where's the numbers? Where's the data that supports your claims or studies? Personally, I studied MBTI theory a little bit, and I used it in real life, and I met a lot of people. I took a lot of personal data, so I met a lot of people, and I actually kept track of who is what type. And in my mind, I also did a lot of recordings. I actually did a lot of recordings, both in terms of notes, but also in terms of like recorded voice calls and recorded podcasts. And I kept track, and based off the field data, so I took field data and I also learned theory, and I checked the field data with the theory, and I checked the theory with the field data. I would check them and see how accurate they were. And even though the theory was not 100% accurate, it was scarily accurate, and was accurate enough that it could be used to understand and predict where are the possible failure points of a relationship. I use typology to understand, okay, myself, understand other people, and then understand the relationship between us and the relationship between them and other people. It's like a person is like a dot. I'm a dot, they're a dot. A relationship is a line between me and them, or a line between them and someone else. Okay. And I'm very serious about being as knowledgeable and as professional as I can about these kind of topics: sociology, socionics, typology, MBTI. But there is a fight between being professional, what are those professional standards, and actually being useful and being true and accurate and being genuine and being open and vulnerable. Because I want to talk about some things that I think some people find quite disgusting, but I think that they could actually help people. So I'm actually on the side of, I want to be on the side of truth. I'm not trying to be professional in the sense that I'm just trying to memorize, this is what this means and this is what this means. I want to be professional in saying, I want to do my part to actually make advances in our understanding of the human mind, and I'm learning to be comfortable with my current understanding. So the level of my current understanding hopefully will not be static. That means what is my understanding I'm sharing now, I'm hoping it will grow and grow and grow. So this video is my understanding based off what I understand now. And one of the reasons why I want to share personal stories and even use some names is because I know so many people, and I have a really my memory, it's reliable, but it's not the longest lived. So I'd better say these stories before I forget them, because as I live life, so many things are happening to me, I can't even remember. Like, let's say I did an interview with someone, or I heard a story, or I experienced something. I'm really forgetting a lot of stuff. So I want to unburden my heart and actually record me telling some of the more important stories that I think they're real, and they might cause problems. They might actually cause problems between me and those people, because technically by telling those stories, I could actually be revealing things that they may not want to reveal. But I want to do that because I'm willing to do that about myself, and some of friends have given me permission to. But honestly, some of those people, there's no possibility to get permission because they've already cut me out of their life, and I would have loved to maintain that permission seeking. But honestly, I would rather use the names and share what I can. And I might be too TMI, but I want to. The thing is, in science, you're supposed to like talk about your studies, your study method, and actually your data and how you got it and how you generated it. I'm a true believer in small data sets that are high quality. So, for example, if you wanted to test MBTI in your life, at least know 32 people, 2 people of each type. It would be good to have 64, where you have 4 people of each type, 2 of the male gender and 2 of the female gender. But some people might say sample size of 64 is not enough. Well, I think that's very clever sounding. But the truth is, human beings can't really know 500 people at a deep level. Like, how do you know 500 people at a deep level? So even if you knew 64 people at a deep enough level to determine whether MBTI was true or not, I would consider that to be a very serious study. Some people, when they are doing cultural anthropology, they might interview like 5 people. Interviewing 64 people, and I've almost collected interviews plus in thousands. Rank up more than 2,000. So it's like a lot of people would shame you and say if your number set is 64, that's too little. I would actually say 64 is like the bare minimum to get a good feel of all the types if you wanted to. But if you didn't have that time and energy, I think even 3 people, 4 people, 2, 5, I think it's okay. We will try to get to all the FI users, and even though our main theme today is for the INFP, we will dance between the different users and FI users, because I believe when we look at the stack, to understand the personality from the cognitive functions method is a really cool angle, which helps us get a new perspective on. It's not the only perspective that matters, and I'm going to share other perspectives. I'm not just saying understand people from the cognitive functions only. People should be understood from all types of angles: their personal history, your actual interactions with them, your observations of them, and hormones. There's so many interesting things. So here we go. I'm going to start first with my own theory, and I have a lot of things that I want to find out if they're true and get people's feedback and publish and get dialogue going, and also do accurate research that hopefully can get to the truth of things. So INFPs are known to be self-reporting to have unstable moods. They're known to be very welcoming and very open to interacting with people, and then suddenly shutting out and cutting out people from their lives. They're also known to actually enter some kind of FI-SI loop where they replay the past in their mind, and the little details of the past bother them and cause them pain. So, for example, I am of the experience that I had a friend, Ria, INFP, she invited me to her birthday. So when we're on the birthday and we're talking on our birthday, everything is going pretty well. Her birthday was just me and her. And her SE senses are not on because it's trickster. So in the moment, everything was fine. The interaction between the two of us was fine. But I believe that the moment I left, so her mind was enjoying her birthday when we were there. But when I left, her brain entered a new mode called Fupan. Fupan is when you replay what just happened. Her brain is replaying what happened. The FI-SI loop is kicking in. The SI is seeing the details that at the moment she did not see. So she's replaying details that earlier she did not see. And FI is putting value judgments on what she has experienced. So imagine someone hangs out with you and having a good time. And then later on, when you leave, their brain replays what just happened, and their brain starts to pick those details that perhaps are significant, symbolically significant, or perhaps are not symbolically insignificant. And the mind starts to judge, did I like that or did I dislike that? There's a sentimentality to this mindset that it makes the experience that just occurred have an emotional value of 10 when it was happening, and have after it occurred, the emotional value goes to 100. And it's like the emotional response to the situation was more muted when it was actually happening, but after it happens, the emotional response is much, much greater. I believe that this is somehow attached to SI memory area and FI. It's somehow memory is being touched, but the amygdala, which is the threat detection center, is detecting threats. It is replaying the past and able to detect threats, and it's actually able to reward and punish the brain after things actually happen. So like when things were happening, there was no mental brain response. After things happened, so during the time the event was occurring, they were not fully engaged. SE was not fully engaged, but they had their SE turned on to some level. Their NE was turned on to some level. And they were experiencing some kind of they were experiencing the moment as it was to a degree, but when they leave that moment, FI and SI, two new brain centers start to activate. And when serotonin, the mood stabilizing hormone, is deficient, the mood starts to swing up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think the INFP with their NE can be seen as almost it is a type of intellectual dopamine seeking kind of function. When the INFP is alone, they are seeking novel stimulation. They're seeking novelty through the NE. At the same time, FI and SI is replaying the past and assigning good and bad values, and it's actually making more of what happened than what really happened, and magnifying what happened, and looking at this little details with a huge SI magnifying glass. And SI being the third function means that SI is being overused. And when we see the FI users, we can see that SI's child function. INFP is the only SI child function user. And who are the other? I should write one for the FE users. Who is the other SI user? Well, it must be, let's see, SI child user. My cat is biting me. I gotta think about that for a moment. It would have to be NE. INTP. The TINESI. Ow! The cat drew blood on me. So the INTP, the cat just bit my palm. And it's bleeding. So SI means, in the child function, means they spend too much time looking at the details of the past. And it's, in a way, looking at the details that might actually be not the most significant. Remember, the third child function is a function that is a weakness of this person that is overused. They use it too often. Their life would be better if they used it less. It's not that they're not able to pick up details accurately. If SI was to be brought into balance, their life would be much better. How do you bring the third function in balance? You need to turn the seventh trickster function, you need to bring that and use that more often. So they need to become more present. I suspect the way the INFP could become more present is by certain sensory things that kind of activate SE. For example, incense or candles. Things that activate SE could also be like a cat. Like when a cat bites your hand, it would activate you. So I did notice INFPs seem to like cats and animals. ISFPs as well seem to like animals a lot. I want to put something here. This is where it can get a little TMI. I was discussing with my friend Hanks about something when I was in Xiamen. Xiamen is a city that's surrounded, it's an island city in China. And we were discussing about serotonin, sex, and the beach. And what I realized was, whenever I used to live in a city called Zhuhai, where the city is known just for its beaches. There's a large beach, long beach, lots of beach. When I was in Zhuhai, I would visit the beach often. And being lonely, I would talk to strangers on the beach. And I came to a funny situation is, whenever I saw a person, and I have some ability to determine who's open to talk to me, whenever I was on the beach and I saw a woman by herself on the beach that seemed open to talking to me, and it was at nighttime, and they were alone on the beach, it was almost always an INFP. And I brought my girlfriend and I to the beach, and I felt, actually, whenever I gone to the beach, I've always felt, when I go to the beach, I feel uncomfortable, especially when I go alone. But if I go with a person, then I feel much, much better. It's the same like when I go hiking. I don't feel good if I go alone, but I'd feel good if I go with someone else. So this is what I kind of had a funny conclusion. If you study me as a person, my mood is extremely stable. I believe that I have extremely high levels of serotonin. I believe that INFPs, especially INFP females, because of the physiological differences between men and women, I believe INFPs actually are more prone to having a deficiency in serotonin. And so the reason why when you go to the beach at night, you might find an INFP there playing their ukulele or just looking out at the beach. I believe there's harvesting serotonin. For whatever reason, the ocean, being near the ocean produces serotonin in a person. So I myself have too much serotonin. So when I'm near the beach, I feel uncomfortable because I don't need more serotonin. My mood is so stable, I don't need more of that. But INFPs, because they're deficient, they find going to the ocean to be very peaceful and very relaxing. And there's two funny things about this I want to mention. One's about sex life and one's about kind of islanders or the islands. Is that me and my friend, we were talking about our sexual experiences in this regard. And I've actually, at the time I was having sex with my girlfriend, I could not actually ejaculate in 6 times of having sex. So I had sex like 6 times. And I would get hard, we would have sex, and I wouldn't feel the need, and I couldn't easily ejaculate, basically. And part of this was trained, because in the past, I trained to have as a man, you're afraid to have pre-ejaculation, you want to have your partner to be happy with their sex life. You want them to be satisfied by you. But what's so funny is my friend told me that serotonin is actually used as it's part, like if people are taking like drugs or pills to actually increase their sexual endurance, serotonin is actually an active ingredient that's put in to those Viagra's or whatever to actually help people last longer in bed. So I didn't have a problem lasting longer in bed. Now, my INFP friend, he admitted that the last time he had sex, he had problems lasting in bed. It didn't go well. And this is where I kind of found out that different personalities are looking for different types of hormones, I believe. Like, why do I not like going to the beach? I have too much serotonin. Going to the beach gives me serotonin. I don't want serotonin. I want oxytocin. How do I get oxytocin? You need to be close. You need to have intimacy. You need to be close and near to someone. INFPs don't seem to need oxytocin. They're not FE users. They're FI users. So FE, I believe, is associated with oxytocin farming or oxytocin deficiency or desiring oxytocin. What's really interesting is we need to make a difference. There's a difference between being sufficient or deficient in a hormone and actually craving or not craving a hormone. I believe that INFPs seem to both crave serotonin and they seem to both lack serotonin. Or it might be the other way around. They actually might lack serotonin and they are needing serotonin. And when they actually get to the beach, they find the serotonin and the peacefulness that they desire. But actually what they're craving is something else. So it's, the INFP, when they're at their best, is they need the serotonin injection. The ocean can give them the serotonin. Is one way to get serotonin. Nature is also a way to get serotonin. But you'll find out that I, as a person, an FE user, I don't feel the need to go to nature. I feel the need to go near people. I feel the need to get deep conversations with people. Like I just disclosed some kind of intimate conversations. It's because I find the superficial conversations that don't release oxytocin, that do not create a bond, to be kind of useless to me. And I'm going to say this is something I noticed about my INFJ friends. So, okay, this is kind of interesting. So, to call out ESFPs that I've met, so SE is associated with dopamine. What's really interesting, and I'm going to say this in the shortest possible because I've had very long conversations about this before, and I would like to do more research in this area and publish something here, but I'm just sharing with you guys like the tip of the iceberg. SE is associated with dopamine. Lying can give a person dopamine. So when a person like if I'm lying to you, when I lie to you, if you don't catch me, I get a dopamine release. So ESFPs that I have met in China have said they love, like I asked them, what do you guys like talking about? They said, 吹牛逼. 吹牛逼 is to brag and lie. So it basically is like when they hang out, 3 ESFPs hanging out, no joking, this really happened. They're telling me, what do they like talking about? Oh, I let's say they might say something like, I bought 10 shoes for $50. So they actually bought 2 shoes for $50, but they might lie for fun. And then someone else will actually lie with them. The ESFP would also like, oh yeah. And they will play along and role play and act out, and they'll create a false story and build on it, and they'll laugh about it. They enjoy this, bragging, lying, laughing. These are high dopamine releasing conversations because dopamine is released when you lie successfully and you get caught. So ESFPs will help each other lie successfully and not get caught while they're hanging out with each other in a social setting. They're going to hit the dopamine from the SE. They're going to hit the oxytocin by being near each other. It's a chemical cocktail that they want. Now, INFJs and some other types have a hard time lying. The INFJ has a hard time lying because they want oxytocin, I believe. Because oxytocin is that feeling of closeness, that feeling of being connected, deeply connected with a person, intimacy. How can you have the feeling of being connected deeply and intimately with a person if you lie to them? If you lie to them, you, instead of the two of you becoming one, you're actually, you're trying to take advantage of the other person. And deep down, that's not going to give you that deep feeling of connected and being understood and understanding each other. So I seek to be understood and to understand others. So if I lie to them, then they won't understand me and therefore won't get oxytocin. So people who don't want to lie, it could be related to they want that deep connection and they want to be understood. So lying might give them the dopamine, but they might not try to be getting dopamine. They might be trying to get another hormone. So I believe the INFPs feel the best when they do all kinds of weird things that give them serotonin. So when I say weird things that give them serotonin, it's because you'll notice that a lot of people, like INFPs, are known to be quite interested in spiritual topics. Like weird things could be things like tarot cards. I say weird because they're not understood why other people in the population don't understand why they would do it. Like tarot, astrology, mysticism, reading spirituality books, reading books that kind of not very scientific, or just like playing the ukulele in the beach. One of my friends was doing that. The INFP is trying to get away out of their FISI loop. And the FISI loop causes them to somehow, we don't know what causes what, these are just speculations. Somehow by looping the FISI loop, they're getting really sentimental, their serotonin levels are not high enough, and their moods are not stable, and their NE is distracting them. They're trying this and they're trying this, and they're like constantly trying to look for something that's going to help them feel whole. And they have strong likes and they have strong dislikes. And the INFP, I think, they use their experience. So the thing is, their FISI has a very emotional roller coaster. An emotional roller coaster has an energy roller coaster. So their body and mind uses a lot of energy to process their emotions and to process the past details. And because the human being is more focused on the negative than the positive, they have a tendency to go more dark into the negative aspect. They'll interpret things that were neutral more negatively than they really were. So when they think about those details in the past, their FI starts to register, I don't like this person. I don't like what they did here. I don't like this. So they start saying anything that causes them pain emotionally. They will say, FI will record, I like and don't. SI also records the value of things. So, we talked about this in the ISFP video, is that the INFP, FI, I like and I dislike. Liking something, FI values, judges things in 3 buckets. One set is, I don't like this. One set is, I'm neutral to this. And one set is, I like this. So in strong FI users, they don't care about things that they're neutral about. Things that they're neutral about basically are as good as they don't like it. Because when they know what they like, they'll just want to spam what they like. They want to run away from that they don't like. Unfortunately, I believe the FI-SI label creates a situation where INFPs are mislabeling some things that cause them pain. Like let's say Ria, my friend INFP, she interacts with me. At the moment, we're fine on her birthday. And then she goes home, and then she plays it over in her head. She sees some details she doesn't like, and she starts to label, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. Oh, I don't like this person. This person's causing me emotional distress. My mood's not stable. And then they don't want to talk to me anymore. Ghost. In my lived experience, INFPs' emotional compass is not accurate. What they like and what they don't like, how they look at these details, they're actually labeling neutral things, good people. They're labeling things that are good in their life as bad, and they're labeling things that are neutral in their life as bad more often than they should. And so what I'm learning about INFPs is they should, one way to get out of this is to just understand that things that cause you pain may not actually be the thing that's causing you pain. Because nothing can cause you, like, pain can come from two sources. One is from the sensory system, the nervous system. So if I take a hammer and hit your hand, or I bite your hand like the cat did, they're attacking my nervous system. So my nervous system is taking data from outside in. The other system is your feelings, which is coming from inside out. Most of the pain that's coming in the INFP's life is not coming from outside in. It's coming from inside out. It is coming from the interpretation. It's like the interpretation of events rather than the events itself. It's not the cat that bit them. It's more like the INFP goes out in life and experiences it, and at the time they're open-minded and they don't have place value judgments yet. So when they go out in the world, they don't take the sensory attacks at the moment, and they don't take attacks from the outside sensory or in the inside out from the feelings. It's when they go home, they replay these events, and then they start assigning values, and then they start to replay in the head, and then they take a lot of emotion. Attacks are coming from inside out, not outside in, which means what's causing them pain is not the event itself, but rather how they see the event. This also, any can be seen as a searching function. I think any as a searching function means that somehow INFPs know that something's wrong. They kind of feel like their soul is on fire, or they're on a roller coaster. You talk to them and they seem like they're in pain. And ironically, as FI users, some of the times they're in the least amount of pain is when they get themselves connected to other people and they listen to other people's stories and listen to other people's pain, and they try to heal and FE connect with other people. When they give other people oxytocin, INFPs really can make FE users really like them, because INFP users tend to be very good at self-analysis. They're very good at analyzing themselves, being in touch with their feelings, knowing what they like and they dislike, and any means they've explored, and they know a lot about the world. Like they know more about the world than the average person, because any expands a person's consciousness or expands their search in the world to explore. So they have an explorer aspect to them, and they have good memory because of SI. They're actively using SI, so they have a good hard drive. What's getting them a little janky is, I think, it's really funny, because as an introverted type, they are turned inward, right? They're turned inward towards their feelings. They're turned inward to their memory, SI and FI. But actually, a lot of their exploration is turned outward, NE. They're trying to explore the world outside. They're trying to escape the world that's inside, because the world that's inside is more painful than it is pleasurable for them. I believe this is why a lot of people do not introvert, because introverting, like when you introvert inwards, most people's lives are full of more negativity than positivity. So when you introvert inwards, you're looking inside a messed up, dark, and convoluted, and it seems like a battle zone when you introvert inward. So a lot of people prefer to extrovert outward to escape from the introversion. Like they would rather look to the world rather than look to the soul. The INFP, I think, is no exception. I believe the INFP might think they're looking at their own soul, but I don't think they're actually looking at their own soul as much as they think, because NE is an exploration of outward, and FI is I'm looking at my feelings, SI is looking at my memory. Your feelings and your memories are both unreliable. They're not your soul. So when the INFP looks at their memories and starts like, oh, this and oh, that, and ew, oh, I don't like this, they're like drifting between this, like the anguish of looking inside, introverting, and then, ooh, nice cat, or wow, that's such a beautiful, like, it's too exaggerated, where they're only looking at inside, part of their inside, and they're looking at the two parts of the inside is what they like, their feelings, and what they don't like, and also their memories, and both of these are severely flawed. So when the INFP is so painful looking inward, they then go crazy exploring outward. Ooh, look at this new iPhone. Oh, look at this new clothing. Oh, look at this. So they kind of have this idea of being too much inside, looking at only one part, or looking outside just to get away from the inside part. And then many times, because they're very nehao means to ruminate. INFPs ruminate with FISI. Because there's a lot of rumination and a lot of nehao is internal friction, in Chinese what it means, they waste a lot of energy. They have, like, the INFP has a lot of energy, but they're wasting a lot of the energy nehao in the internal friction. It's like a car that is, if a good car has like low friction so it can go faster, right? But there's too much friction inside. It causes it hard to achieve goals like TE, and any can be accidentally used as a form of escapism from one's own ruminations, FI and SI. And what's interesting about this is I think that it might be the case that the INFP should not ruminate alone, but should ruminate in the presence of others, because I think the INFP is going to make heavy things that are light and make light of things that are heavy. That's the difficulty of FISI, is it is mistakenly believing that the person themselves is an objective and reliable narrator. So when you hear an INFP talk about some of the things that are causing them a lot of pain, a lot of other types are quite puzzled. We can actually listen deeply about the SI, tell me what actually happened. And then when we're hearing about the weight of the value judgment, it feels like the INFP is actually stuck in some kind of knot. It would appear that they are not easily able to be their optimal self. That they're losing a lot of themselves in their own feelings and memories, or they're losing themselves in just trying to find a solution. Any TE is also about searching for a solution, right? TE is about problem solving. INFPs, unfortunately, the INFP's biggest problem, and they kind of know it, is themselves. They know that if they could just get away from these roller coaster feelings, that their life would be so much easier. And I think a lot of INFPs and ISFPs, especially a female, they have fantasies about finding a partner who's like a rock, emotionally stable, very reliable, and someone who just gets things done and doesn't waste too much time in rumination and self-pitying or self-reflection. They don't want, INFPs and ISFPs do not seem to want to find a partner that's like them, who's serious. And this is something that, for those people who like INFPs, might need to ask themselves, is because a lot of times INFPs, when they open up on their vulnerability, they make other people, especially of the opposite gender, open up on their vulnerability. And actually, that's what you need for healing, like to be vulnerable with someone. But I think the INFP is likely to find that extremely unattractive, ironically. So INFP is going to communicate with someone and be very vulnerable and reveal their own pain and hurts and struggles with great depth and feeling. It creates this reciprocity where the other person will think, wow, I feel safe. This person feels safe with me to reveal their real struggles. I'm going to reveal my struggles to them. And when the moment they reveal the struggles to them, they no longer carry the image, the TE image of TE is like this rock hard problem solver who doesn't get caught in emotional waves. So the INFP is kind of looking for someone who's not that emotional. They're looking for someone who's going to help them stabilize their emotions rather than, oh, you're destabilized and I am destabilized. We're both destabilized. We're both dealing with a lot of stuff and we're both like a lot of struggle. It could connect people, but I think that it's actually a turnoff for them. So, ironically, if you like an ISFP and an INFP, I think to actually attract them more is to show how much different you are than them. And it's not about revealing your emotionality and revealing your own vulnerability, because at least the INFPs and ISFPs that I have talked about too, INFPs seem to care, they do care about women's rights, but they don't really seem to care about gender equality. Like when I see in China, this is the case, is women's rights, they want to see women to have more rights, but they don't really care about men's rights or men's equality with women. They just feel men have had it too good too long, so it'd be nice for women to get it better, and if men have it, well, it doesn't matter. That's a common feeling here in the FI values of women in China. And part of that is a double standard on emotionality, where if a man is emotional, it's an attractive, but if a woman is emotional, it's okay. So I'm just going to warn you about that. Could be different about INFPs and ISFPs out there in other parts of the world, but I do think from the fourth function vulnerable, we could see that the ISFP and INFP are admired for actually being, or they admire more logical, more structured, more problem solving, more oriented. INFPs and ISFPs, like the ISFP kind of wants to enjoy their world more. INFPs want to escape their own personal hell, that is their own mind. And the distrust of self is something that I believe the ISFP and INFP need to learn more. FI has baked into it some kind of confidence in the self, where you'll see that the ESFP and the ENFP are very confident types, and they're using FI in the parent function. So what's so funny is the ISFP and INFP appear as not confident types, but actually, so if you looked at them and you asked them, are you a confident person? They would probably say no. But if you actually really deeply analyze them, the reason why they're not confident is they're way too confident in their own mind. Like, their mind is a negative place. Their mind creates a negative judgment and a negative view of themselves. And they are confident in the negative view of themselves. So confident that they believe it's true. Whereas that's not what's happening with the ESFP and the ENFP. But I would say that the INTJ and ISTJ are also quite confident for similar reasons. As in, the ISTJ and the INTJ are so confident they could stand up against the entire society and do things the way they want to do. So they don't seem to be confident because they don't seem to be like leading and connecting lots of people in big groups, and they find it very cringe and very awkward to be among too many people. The ISFP and the INFP, I believe, are so confident they're not confident. They're so confident in their own ability to evaluate the value of things that when they value themselves as not worthy, they actually believe their own lies about themselves not being worthy. And when they look back and replay the value of things, they have a tendency to undervalue things, and actually they have a tendency to undervalue or overvalue things and actually believe their value judgment system, and I don't think they let that system be challenged as much. Like, engineering feedback loops to challenge your own view of things is very important. You could be wrong about most of the world. You could be wrong about how you see the world may not be correct. And building in feedback loops also involves using the other 16 types. Like, if a person was really smart and they wanted to get feedback on their own life, they should include more voices of, if you could get If you can get 16 healthy types communicating with you, you could read some books from some of the types, you could watch some videos from some of the types, you can make friends with some of the types, you can have a partner from different types. Having feedback on your life from the 16 different types who are healthy could help you get so much more out of life. The ISFP and INFP are more likely to not actually connect with the other 16 types because they're so confident that how they see the world is actually how the world is, when the world is not actually how they think it is. Because of the way information metabolism works, every type can only see part of the world as it is, and we're all missing part of how the world is. The idea behind the 16 types is we're all missing key information about how the world actually is. So if we look at things only from our perspective, whether it's thinking or whether it's feeling, we're actually seeing an incomplete view of the world, and we have an incomplete understanding, and so we're going to make poor decisions based off our incomplete understanding. If we want to make better decisions, we would want to have a more complete understanding to have a much more accurate decision-making process. The ISFP and INFP would benefit if they actually included more of their opposing function. And the opposing function FEs really, really going out of the way to connect with people. And the thing is, why ISFPs and INFPs don't probably like FE that much is you have to lose something. You have to lose some FI to get some FE. You need to lose some of yourself to get along with other people. And that's actually what ISFPs and INFPs need. The reason why they're going down the wrong path a lot of times is because their FI is misleading them. So if FI is misleading them, it would be great for them to lose that part of the FI that's actually misleading them. And they're gonna do that by going into the FE, connecting with other people, and the FE can drown and destroy those parts of the FI. That is just janky. And I think the INFP, when they go into FI-SI loop, they should explore to seek other perspectives. How are they going to seek other perspectives? Well, the best way to seek other perspectives is through other people, because different perspectives mean different people. I think INFPs are more inclined to look for different perspectives that match their FI values, so they kind of filter their perspectives. So any coming after FI means they filter the perspectives they're willing to look at based off what they like and they dislike. It's like a feminist who's only wanting to look at feminists' perspectives and not look at people who have toxic masculinity as a perspective. But a person who is really looking for new perspectives should not filter based off what they like and dislike. They should actually look for perspectives they don't like. So the INFP should actually look for perspectives that they don't like and actually look and say, hey, I like these perspectives. You like these perspectives. We don't agree. We should debate. We should discuss. Why do we have disagreement? And the deep challenge for the INFP, because in a way they have idealism, right? Is that they should look for the equality of the perspectives. Like it's true, some people are dumb and some people are smart. But there are smart people who believe in toxic masculinity, and there are smart people who believe in feminism, just as there are dumb people who believe in both. There's like, if you really dig deep down, like if you really, really deep down, there are perspectives that do not match yours that have equal value to your perspective. And it is not fun to admit that. There's cognitive dissonance. To believe what you believe and what you like and what other people like, opposing belief structures are actually equally valid and actually should be respected as so. That really is not that easy for an INFP and ISFP. So the INFP is filtering their perspectives based on what they like and they don't like. And that's even scarier is SI, the memory. SI in the child function is not as objective because SI is being filtered by FI and NE. It's being filtered based off what they like and they don't like, and it's also being filtered by the perspectives that they've explored. Whereas sometimes you should just let things be. Just let things be the way they are. You don't need to like it and you don't need to dislike it. Like a historian does not record things that. Imagine if you're a historian and only recorded things that you like and you deleted things you dislike. That's kind of like the INFP's mind. It's not recording things in the SE, TE, TI most objective way. It's recording things in a very subjective way. So the memory is colored with too much emotion. Sometimes you can just say, what happened? Let's detach it from the emotion. Like take that knife and it's like carving the meat. The bone is the history and the meat is the emotionality, cut that meat and just eat it, 消化, digest the emotions, and get objective about things. Like, things don't all need to have emotional interpretation. They don't need to be emotionally interpreted. Like, you don't need to be like, the Holocaust happened. Let's all cry now. We could actually say the Holocaust happened, and it just happened. I went and had a birthday party with someone, and they just had a birthday party. There's no need to like or dislike what happened. It just happened. And when you say it just happened, you can let it go and actually free the emotion. Because there's something that looks like the INFP is having emotional reactivity to everything. Like, not every detail in your life warrants emotional reactivity. Like, if someone says a mean comment to you online, you don't need to react to it. If it suddenly rains, you don't need to react to it. If it rains, just get an umbrella. If someone says a negative comment to you, just look at the next comment. Sometimes this is just like next. If someone did something you didn't like, you don't need to be like, oh, I didn't like it. I just like this person now. If someone did something you didn't like, you can also say something, well, this is a more TI way of thinking. This is what I tell my friends this. If I do something you don't like, please tell me. First step, tell me what I did that you didn't like. 2, tell me what you think I should have done instead, that what you would like. And 3 is give me time to change. Most INFPs don't know what this is. They just see the first step. You did something you didn't like, and they didn't even tell you. You didn't like. So especially in Asia, it becomes a problem. If you did something you didn't like, and they also don't like confrontation, and they also don't like awkwardness, and they don't like directly communicating the feelings, they're going to make you guess. So FI can get very complicated because it has a lot of complicated rules. It's basically it's like living with all these rules that I like this, so I have to do this. I don't like this, so I can't do that. I don't like confrontation, so I don't confront people. I don't like awkwardness, so I run away from awkward situations. I like it when people guess how I feel, so I'm going to make people guess how I feel. So if you talk to other guys in China, you'll get the feeling that FI is out of control. So like the FI personality types, I believe, are more abundant than the FE types. It really feels that way. And also the value system and the society is highly valuing FI over FE. So people's FI is getting out of control. 利己主义者 is an egoism. Egoism is 宇宙中心. I'm the center of the universe. So FI definitely has an egocentric view. Like it views things from its own position, its own perspective. It views itself as important. It views my own feelings as the judge, and it views itself as the arbiter of what is good and what is bad, and the arbiter of what is true and what is false. Basically, FI in the hero function is this type of egoism that puts the self above others and actually puts the needs of the self above the needs of others, which is justifiable to a lot of people's minds in Asia, because they're like, it's like this. This society didn't give a shit about me. Why should I give a shit about society? Or I try to help other people, and they don't help me. They just try to take advantage of me. So FI is about conserving. It's a little bit about a distrust of other people, because you want to be. So there's dependent, independent, and interdependent. Interdependent is when we are connected and we help each other achieve the best version of ourselves. Independent is when you rely on other people to grow. And independent is when you're basically you self-sufficient. FI has some kind of fantasy of being independent. So you do notice the INTJs and ISTJs as being very independent kind of people. And also ISTPs with FE in the fourth function, because FE in the fourth function is almost like FI. Just like FI in the fourth function is almost like FE. Almost like. So the thing is, so you'll know that ENTJs and ESTJs, even though they have the FI function, it's like the influence FI exerts on them is so little that they actually have the ability to appear to have FE. This is something that we should know, is the further back a function is in the stack, it influences the person less. So the flip function the flipped attitude, extroverted or introverted, will actually seem to play a larger role in their life. So ISTPs with FE in the fourth function, and INTPs with FE in the fourth function, they actually seem to be very similar to INTJs and ISTJs, because they're similar because they seem to value more independence than they seem to be more independent valuing, and the FI types definitely value freedom, independent, their own choice, and their own the freedom to do what they like and to be away from what they don't like. That's like freedom to them. FI is, and it's funny is because some people in China, they talk about what kind of boyfriend do you want. They want a boyfriend who's there when they want them to be there, and they want them to go away when they don't want them to be there. That is very FI. I want, when I need you or like you, I want this. It's about being served. I want to be served. I want to be independent. I don't want to be bogged down by something, by commitment or something that makes me feel restrained or restricted. And I want to have things on my own terms. I value my individuality. I don't want my individuality to be subsumed by a group, and I don't view myself as needing to sacrifice myself for others as my primary. It doesn't make sense to sacrifice the self for others. I want to say something about that because this could get controversial. INFPs do seem to be attracted by certain ideologies that involve sacrificing the self for others. But FI users, INFPs, ESFPs, ENFPs, they feel very deeply. And so no matter what, their feelings come first. They need to take care of their own feelings more than they are willing to take care of other feelings. Other types, like ISFJs and INFJs, they ignore their own feelings to take care of the feelings of others. You're not going to see that as something that comes easily to the FI types. And so they might ideally, I like this idea of we should all live together and we all work together, we all sacrifice, but they feel so deeply that they just can't ignore it easily. And I used some very harsh terms like egocentric, independent. These things, like, especially in China, girls would actually tell you they are 利己主义者. Like, they would tell you they're egocentric. They would tell you that they want to be an independent, take care of myself. Other people don't matter. I matter first, for a lot of reasons. You can't take care of other people if you don't take care of yourself. But also because other people don't care about you, so why would you care about them? Reciprocity. There's like, take care of yourself. And that's the first and most important thing you have a responsibility to. So a lot of people are like, they believe that I came to this world to experience life, and I'm just one person. I can't do anything to make change at the societal level, so I'm just going to focus on making their own life better. Some INTJs would say, hey, if everyone's independent and everyone knows how to handle their own business, if everyone minds their own business, wars will end. That's some like INTJ kind of logic is we should all become independent adults that actually take care of ourselves and respect other people's boundaries, and things will be great. It's also something that FI has with boundaries is FI in the more dominant position for INFP. It's a boundary. FE allows your boundaries to dissolve, to connect with other people. How can you connect with somebody if you have boundaries? So INFPs, I think, have some, and ISFPs, they actually have problems connecting with people in the FE way. They're able to be listeners, they're able to kind of be part of the group, they're able to make other people feel comfortable. But what they like and they dislike, they hide it because sometimes those things are very, very questionable and controversial. So they have always this need to hold on to some kind of barrier between them and other people. And so I think that FE types dealing with INFPs might actually feel like, wow, we're getting along great. My boundaries are dissolved. How about yours? The INFP could act like their boundaries are dissolved and they accept you, but actually if you probe and you talk to them, their boundaries are still up. Their walls are still up. I think something we'll get onto the critic and trickster and the demon function is that INFPs. I can say something about the critic function for me because I'm a huge NI user, and sometimes INFPs really enjoy what I'm talking about. But I would say that INFPs are one of the groups of people, because they are perspective seekers, they don't like thinking one perspective is actually more right. It's really weird because from a theoretical standpoint, they prefer that all perspectives be equally treated as none is better than the others. But from an emotional standpoint, FI standpoint, they believe that their emotional compass and perspective is more true and more real and more correct than others. So when it comes to feelings, their FI feelings is their feelings are more true than the feelings of others. That's something I noticed in the INFPs. But when it comes to NE versus SI, they would rather see, like Buddhism or MBTI, or for some reason, this is my take on INFPs. They don't give me the vibe. They don't give me the vibe that they're very. They don't give me the vibe that they want to get too serious on, like, let's say socionics. Like, for example, socionics is a very serious endeavor by an INTP. The INTP had the TI, right? So they tried to build a big system. So the INTPs are like believers in systems. ISTPs are believers in systems. They're TI DOMs. INFJs have TI in the third function. We believe in finding the right system that will help us find the right system that will be the map to our life and help us live our life. I think INFPs will look at people's systems, look at people's theories, but they're going to be suspicious. As in, they're like, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this about that. I like this about that. But in a way similar to the ENFP, they're more eclectic in the sense they like to mix things. Like they would rather, and there has been some comments as, it's like Joseph's cloak of many colors. They don't really want to have a one color theory. Like if a person was a socionics expert and they didn't look too much in other theories, I think that they'd actually look at a person who's too expert and too specialist in a thing with kind of a critical view. Like if someone was so deep in socionics but not knowledgeable about other things, I think they'd kind of feel a little bit like they would rather take a little bit of Buddhism, take a little bit of Christianity, take a little bit of socionics, take a little bit of MBTI. Like they don't really seem to care about orthodoxy, and they don't really seem to care about understanding things the way the person meant them to be understood. So if a person wrote a socionics theory very seriously, the INFP would probably look at it and be like, oh, that's a cool, interesting theory. Take some parts that they like, and then they kind of seem to ignore the parts they don't like. And they're going to find things that they like and they don't like. So for them, they might see Buddhism and they'd be like, I don't like this, I don't like that. Their brain would actually just... their brain can reject. Their brain can simultaneously accept and reject this system. Like they don't have a good time of accepting a system for its good and its bad. Because orthodoxy means you accept the system as it is, and you accept the purity, and you accept the tradition, you accept the good and the bad. The INFP is like, well, I don't need to do that. I don't want to accept the part I don't like. I just want to accept the part I do like. So, like, like American culture right now has like USA. So like American culture has a lot of cringe and a lot of good things about it. Part of the things that makes it sort of good, it has that military tradition of we're going to be the best military in the world, right? I feel like INFPs are going to be critical of any big system, any kind of they want to be more unique. And to be unique, they don't want to lose their identity in this group or that group or this culture. They are not going to buy into this system completely for what it is. Like, if anything, they're saying, this is the system, and I will take what I want from it. I will take, and I will avoid what I don't want about it. And I'm not going to label myself to be onto this system or that. And this makes INFPs kind of like customizers, eclectic, which makes them very interesting people to talk about because they know a lot of perspectives and they know about a lot of different systems. But somehow you get the feeling that they know these systems wrongly, like almost on purpose. It's like, because Buddhism was a system that had a founder, and the system has its own beliefs, some that can be proven right and some that can be proven wrong, and it could be criticized. The INFP somehow can go in the Buddhist temple and enjoy Buddhism while blatantly ignoring the part they don't like, and they can synthesize different cultures and different things they like into their own thing, and it becomes their own unique kind of expression or connection with the world. But it's kind of like they're not so loyal to a specific ideology or a specific system. So, and they don't seem to be interested in building that. Like the NITI loop, because the critic and demon, INFJs seem to be, like myself, I'm interested in building the true understanding of the world and understanding that theory, that grand theory that will explain all things. Like, I believe that I actually believe that all human beings have one part of the puzzle piece, that if we combine the puzzle piece, we'll find the God's eye view. We're going to find out the right perspective to the universe. Reality, objective reality exists. We just need to connect our subjective realities, and then we're going to explain the universe, the objective and the subjective, and have this grand theory that if we all studied, we'll finally better understand each other, ourselves, and the world, and get along, and we'll see a higher level of prosperity, excellence, and integrity. I have these kind of grand visions of, wow, I have a direction. NI is a direction. NE is a bit of a directionless thing, and criticizing NI is having a direction. NI is like, for me, is like, I like socionics. I like MBTI. So for me, I thought MBTI is good. John Beebe model is good. Socionics is good. So I'm like, my NI direction is, I need to get more understanding of people. I can understand people. This system is going to help me understand more people. But for the INFP, you kind of get this weird feeling that they don't really believe people can be understood. Because they're believers in the complexity of people rather than they don't believe people can be simplified down and understood easily. They believe in the more complex aspect of humans. And so they're more about, TE is more about usefulness rather than TI. They're more about the usefulness of systems. This is useful, this is useful, this is useful, rather than TI's, let's find that right theory that can help us clarity seeking. So they're not, INFPs don't seem to be clarity seeking on the axis. TI is trying to seek for clarity and seek to understand the world and seek to combine perspectives into a true understanding. So TI is like, what does Buddhism teach? Buddhism teaches this. Christianity teaches this. It creates boundaries between different teachings and then tries to do comparisons. Which one's more accurate and how can we have a more accurate understand of the world? And INFP seems to just throw everything in the hot pot and combine it. Throw away things I don't like and just combine things that I do like and then make that part of my own identity, and I'm going to enjoy this vibe. And it works for me because it gives me serotonin and it makes me have a much more stable mood and helps me have a much more satisfying life. In a way, it feels like the INFP cares about am I staying away from what I don't like? Am I getting what I do like? And am I looking for new things and new perspectives? I don't want to get shoehorned into any of the freedom oriented. I don't want to get shoehorned into only one path. Maybe I'll walk the Buddhist path for 2 days, but I don't want to walk that my whole life. I want to walk back and forth between different paths and see different things, how they combine in different ways, and see what can be generated from these creative ideas. SI is about being very detail oriented and being also comfort and having homeostasis. So the INFP is actually much more about I do want to stay in the comfort zone of what I like, and FI can be a comfort zone of staying near what I like and staying away from what I don't like. And then T's, I just want to solve that problem. Like T's, I want to solve the problem. But what problems do I want to solve? SI, I want to solve the problem of being uncomfortable. I want to solve the problem of actually exploring and seeing new things in the world in different perspectives. And FI is I want to be near what I like and being far away from what I don't like. And I think we can see that INFPs are not really using TI enough. They basically in a way, I think they're not taking theory seriously enough. Like, I think a lot of the problems INFPs face have already been solved by other people. If you look at the problems humans face, there are problems that are known that are solved. There are problems that are unknown that are not solved, and there are problems that are like unknown and solved, and there are problems that are like if you put the quadrants of is this problem known to you, and is it solved by other people? Basically, INFPs have a lot of problems in their life that have already been solved by other people, and they have been already systematically described by TI. Socionics is one of those systems. And I think that INFP is actually likely to reject certain things that would actually help them simply because it includes something they don't like. Like if someone told them socionics accurately describes people and it can help you as an INFP figure out how to get better relations with people, it might rub an INFP the wrong way if the INFP already believes that people are so complicated and no theory can explain that. So if an INFP already has those preconceived notions, they might actually shut out TI stuff. Like an INFP is like, oh, I want things that actually work, but I don't really want things to get too theoretical or too systematized because I don't believe systematization can actually work. So there's actually a distrust of systems, and actually FE a distrust of connecting with things. It's like not invented here. I don't really trust things that have been created by other people because they don't know me and I don't know them. And I think that this also goes to the SE trickster where INFPs, SE could actually be expressed as, you're not the only person who lived on the planet. Many, many people have lived on the planet, and a lot of people have actually shared their experiences in a TI format. And SI is people, so if you stay grounded, you'll realize that it's worth connecting with people in an FE way because other people have actually gone through what you've gone, and you could actually learn from the experiences of people. And actually, instead of just looking for what you like, look for things that you don't like, and actually look for things that challenge what you like, and actually look for things that champion what you don't like. Look for things that make you uncomfortable. Look at SE is about a little bit of discomfort. Child function is SI. The reason why SI is the child function is overly looking for comfort and staying in that comfort zone of what you like. You're not going to SE challenge yourself. And in the real life, SEs, you want to challenge yourself. And you want to put yourself in situations where they're a little bit uncomfortable, but they actually give you a new perspective, any new perspective on how the world works, and helps you build a TI understanding of the model of the world that you're living in, and develop NI. Where NI is actually about getting rid of distractions and getting rid of things that are not important and focusing on the things that are most important. And I think the INFP might actually have to be more honest with themselves, that they're staying too much in the comfort zone and they're letting what they like and dislike dictate what they're willing to interact with. So they're actually interacting with the world too little. They're actually running away from things a little bit too early. Sometimes you need to go through some pain. Sometimes you buy the stock when the time to buy the stock is when the stock price is low, and you can wait when the stock price rises. Some things they look bad and they look painful. Some friendships are painful. Some friendships you dislike, but you should stick in with it, because I believe a relationship that's very good, it's not a relationship where it's always fine and dandy. Human beings are different. We're going to have conflict. These SE conflicts are actually not always bad. Having these conflicts allow us to discover new growth areas and to actually challenge our understanding of the world and build an NETI perspective. It gives us more perspectives, it helps us build, understand the world, and it actually narrows the focus of what's important. So looking for conflicts is a good thing. And even trying to avoid the conflicts in our life and trying to avoid the hard conversations and trying to avoid awkwardness, these are things that are only going to make the INFP stuck in the FI-SI loop. The way you challenge the stuck in the comfort zone of the sentimentality is to basically challenge your own feelings and actually do self-talk and say, I know we feel bad right now, but I don't care, we're going to do it. I know I feel awkward talking to the person. I know this person did something I don't like, but let's talk about it. Let's discover new perspectives. Let's treat people as equal to us. It doesn't matter that I cannot feel what they feel. They cannot feel what I feel. And this is something that if they cannot feel what I feel and I cannot feel what they feel, let's have an intellectual conversation about this. Let's not make everything about feelings. Let's make this about learning about other people. Let's make this about turning things into a learning experience rather than experiencing everything as such a rich, stormy feelings, and actually treating our own perspective in a detached manner and saying, hey, let's look at this as if we're living in a TV show, and maybe we're the actor, we're acting in a TV show, and now when we take a few steps back with a director, and we are the director, we can talk to the different actors and say, hey, what do you think happened? How can we improve our performance? I think the INFP should try to detach from themselves and actually challenge every feeling that they have and actually challenge every memory. Just because you remembered a certain thing in a certain way, the human mind is not recording things in the best way. So when you have a memory and you have a bad feeling, you can say, well, my mind is remembering things a certain way and I am reacting emotionally in a certain way. Maybe the memory was recorded wrongly, and maybe the emotional reaction is me being triggered about something, but it is not actually the full story. So let's go interact and talk to other people and get a more full story rather than jumping to conclusions. I really enjoyed this series, a little bit TMI, but we want to speak deep down from our heart and record what happened, and we know that AI in the future could help us analyze these things and make the videos shorter. So we're thinking about just letting it loose and just going all in. It's actually harder to make shorter videos because you'd actually have to think what you're going to do with the script, but I think it's better in my case, because I'm doing so much research in so many areas, is just say it as I feel it, say it as I think. And I'm still in need to improve my understanding of subconscious functions, but I want to say that I do believe that the INFPs are not really connecting with people in the deep level because they're hiding a lot of their, like FE, they're kind of blocking themselves from FE. And NI, they don't really want to narrow themselves down into they're not trying to narrow things down. They're trying to expand things. So sometimes narrowing things down, the heart needs to expand and contract. They need to narrow it down and focus and get serious about what's most important. That's what NI is about. And seeing those patterns and recognizing and saying, hey, stop ignoring the pattern. And if they're weak on it, they could actually talk to an NI user, a strong NI user. And SE is, hey, when they realize that, many times INFPs don't actually like using SE, like it goes against their FI. But the way that is like, I don't like it, but I'm going to exercise. I don't like it, but I'm going to do this because I need to get my body moving. The body needs this. To take care of my body, I can't just always be comfortable. I also need, your muscles cannot always relax. You also need tension. If you're always relaxed, then your muscles will atrophy. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. SE is about using it, and every challenge you rise past, you're going to feel a satisfaction. And that's actually something like, okay, who cares what happened in the past? What matters is right now and the future. because you can't change the past. You can actually face a challenge and overcome that, and you're going to feel great after. That's what S is. I'm going to face challenges. I'm going to overcome them, and they can start small challenges. Do those challenges, overcome them, and you're going to feel, oh, I feel satisfied. I think INFPs have actually really good ideas, but they seldom systematize it. It's like they have really good ideas, but they don't really know what their ideas are until they share it. And when they share it, sometimes the ideas are like actually having abilities, and if you use those abilities at the wrong time or you don't use them at all, it's as if you don't have those ideas. TI is about, okay, what do we believe in? Why do we believe in it? How do we systematize it? And not being so uncommitted, ideologically uncommitted. Because like, if you're so ideologically uncommitted, you're going to have a hard time knowing what you think, knowing what you believe. And it's hard to be true to yourself if you don't really define yourself. So TI is sometimes something, okay, let's make some choices here. We can't be a Buddhist and a Christian at the same time. We can't be this and that at the same time. We need to make some choices that help us find alignment. Because how are you going to find alignment if you don't know what you're aligning to? So TI is what do we believe in? What are we going to commit to? And what are we going to commit to doing? And what are we commit to not doing? And let's just run with that. Building that and being understandable. Like when you actually commit to beliefs and you commit to things, I do this, I don't do this, then people can understand you. And I think INFPs have a hard time for other people to understand them is because they're not committed to this or that. They're with their own feelings. Like FI is their feelings, which is like a stormy sea. Today it's stormy, tomorrow it's not. So today they like this, tomorrow they don't like it. They're not committing to things in a structured way that makes people feel that they're able to understand them. So they're in a FI, NE are both prone to change because NE is changing different directions. This direction and this direction. I like this and I do this. FI is I like this and I don't like this, and it's a little bit chaotic. So when they're a little bit chaotic, is it possible for them to truly change? I think it is. If they find a serotonin generating, mood stabilizing, like the nature, they can get down and commit to things and use the incense to bring them to SE, use things like home waterfalls, using things that create pleasant sensory experiences that help them get out of their rumination. There are so many people that would like to help INFPs because I know that INFPs have helped me a lot as well. I may not have talked about it much, but INFPs have helped me in the path of intrapersonal psychology, of self-discovery, and going deeper and understanding myself. If I had to the truth is I think INFPs that I know don't really let me help them the way I wish I could help them, because I know I could help them with the NI and the TI. I wish I could help INFPs more, but I think in some way the INFPs are more willing to help others than they're willing to be helped by others, because somehow they don't tend to like being helped by others because they seem to value the independence, they seem to value the boundaries, they seem to value the privacy, the secrecy. So they seem to be, they want to do things their own way and do things on their own time and do things by themselves. They're more introverted style, which sometimes as friends we just need to respect. But I think one of the biggest thing an INFP can say is, hey, I'm lost, I'm confused, my emotional compass is totally messed up, it's not great, can someone help me and give me a perspective? I think so many people like INFPs, they would love to help, but we always feel like INFPs, they're so locked in on the FISI, they don't seem, they like, let's say they're sharing what happened to them, they like share what happened to them, and we're trying to engage and influence them, but FE is open to influence, FI is not that open to influence, so FI seems to be less easily to persuade into doing anything. So INFPs seem to be a type that's kind of like a lost soul on the planet. But if they ran into a person who was not a lost soul, an unlost soul, a person that found their way, it seems like the INFP is not that easy to listen to a person who's not lost. Like almost because of NE and FI, it almost seems in some case the INFP enjoys being lost more than they enjoy being found. Because TI is a map. SE is like looking at the path, looking around you and saying, SE is like, okay, I'm lost. Can I find someone who's not lost and ask for directions? TI is like, I need a map. I can ask, I don't have a map, just please give me a map. NI is like your GPS telling you where you should go on your next path. And FE is like asking people for directions, like actually connecting with people who know what they're doing. So you say FI is like close up to the senses.
I'm not going to ask people how they feel, or I'm not going to connect with people that easily. FE is connecting. FI is like, I'm more isolated. Then NE is like, I'm just going to randomly explore rather than turn on the GPS. And then SI, instead of actually looking at the present saying, okay, who knows where the direction is, SI is like looking, self-referencing back into the past experiences. But if you were lost in the past and you were lost in the present and the future is unknown to you, how are you going to be finding the path if you self-refer to your own memories and your own experience and your own past, but you yourself are lost? Then SI is not going to guide you on the path. And TE is like, I want to do things fast. I want to do things fast. But doing things fast is not as good as having the right map. It's like direction matters more than speed. So TE is a speed function rather than TI being a direction function. TE is great in the short term, TI is great in the long term. So I feel that INFPs, if we looked at it in a map analogy, INFPs are FI, focused on going where I want to go. NE is I just want to randomly explore. SI is I want to self-reference my own past experiences, my own memory, which the map is not there. And then T is I want to do things fast. So there's a little bit of an impatience with the INFP. You notice that the INFJ is quite patient, can do something very long-term, but the INFP kind of struggles with patience because the TE desires speed. The INTJ, for the same reason, is also not the most patient type. INTJs are quite patient in terms of the long-term goal with NI, but every day they're like rushing because like the long term they're very patient, but in the short term they're like rushing because of TE. Sometimes TE, you just need to slow down and get the right map so you get the right direction. So to recap, FE, go connect people, find who has the right map. If you could talk to more people, a person doesn't have the right map, but they might know someone who has the right map. Enneagram, socionics are maps, right? NI is like, okay, turn on the GPS, find the right path, ignore the random noise and find the signal. SE is stay observant, and when you get off the path, course correct. Don't self-reference. Look to the real life conditions. Don't look at the internal conditions. And TI is how can we actually have that valued map structure. And in the case of TI Demon, not everyone was built to be a map builder. Not everyone's a map maker, a cartographer. So if you want to make your life easier, sometimes instead of actually trying to reinvent the wheel and build a map, if you're not good at TI, you can find a person who's good at TI, like the founders of Socionics, and just use the map they've built, and then use FE to connect with people to understand that map, and use NI to turn on that GPS. I want to go from this point to this point, and then you use SE. It's like, okay, how can I use this map? Because look, SE is like this. You can turn on the GPS, but the GPS does not see the cars that are in front of you. You need to turn the SE so you could actually avoid running into a pole, and that you could actually take the right turn at the right time, or you need to observe the red light and the green light. So there you go, guys. FI users, episode number 3, INFP using map analogy, and take care. God bless. See you in the next video.